Sorry about me cussing Jesse like a dog, but fuck it, I did. That's how it is.
Thomas Sudville got ran out of Auburn because of his wife. His wife was sleeping around with some of the players and just being a complete whore around town.
You fucking punk-ass bitch!
The Pac-12 will have 5 or 6 teams in the top 25.
Dude, whatever you're smoking, buy a ton of it.
I'm the great smack talker on the fucking face of the earth right now.
You fucking punk-ass bitch!
It makes me look like I got owned or something.
You fucking punk-ass bitch! You fucking punk-ass bitch!
I just can't believe y'all put a statue of this guy already at your campus.
I'm like Charlie Daniels. I'm burying my goddamn money in mason jars, motherfucker.
We are back. The Smacking Off podcast. We're joined with two dear friends tonight. No strangers to the show. Mr. Timothy Bailey, how are you doing this evening?
I'm hanging in there, man. How are you?
You know, I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure out the whole thing, you know, as far as life and death and taxes and the whole bit.
Well, let's get away from that for a little bit.
All right, and we got Jody Trammell, and he's going to be repping the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, Jody unfortunately had to go through that segment last week, so we took some pity on him and brought him back.
Well,
I mean, you know, I don't know. I think there was a lot more made up in that segment. We were expecting just some absolute fireworks from Mr. George, and we come to find out he's a young fella that just learned how to use the internet.
Something like that, yeah.
Fellas,
I had an interesting experience on my last segment with you guys too.
Yeah. There's been a lot of that here lately. The shows have gotten, and it's been great as the season has progressed and we've kind of figured out what we're doing because, you know, this is our inaugural season of Smacking Off. We've just started doing this. We have no idea what the fuck we're doing, so we've kind of had to learn as we go along. And the shows have just gotten better and better and better, I think. So
for sure, yeah.
Well,
I've enjoyed them. Well, at first you just it was like the Tiggy and Doug, the Tiggy, Doug, and Shannon show. That was an interesting start.
Well, it kind of was, and Tiggy.
Well, we felt like everybody would tune in just to hear what Tiggy's voice sounded like. Because most people don't even believe.
A lot of people to tune in just because of that. Because people were wondering if that dude was just like, if he just trolled, like if he was just a pro.
Well, there's still people that think that there's still people that think Tiggy and Pike are the same people.
And we've had them on the show on the same segment talking, and there's, I mean, you know.
Do you know Brad Wood, Clemson guy?
Yeah.
We got into it earlier. He told me that Tiggy and Uncle Lou are the same people, and I was like, "You can't make this kind of shit up." And I was giving him hell about it, and he got pissed.
That's funny.
Nah, Tiggy's just a dude you guys found on the internet, from what I understand. I mean, I saw him in all sorts of groups.
Yeah,
right?
he's everywhere. I mean, you know,
you're just like, this dude talks a lot of shit. Let's grab him.
Yep, that's what we did,
and that's what the show's all about. Again, you know, this is not like, and look, we were talking about Feinbaum off the air for a moment. You know, this show was kind of modeled after the old original Feinbaum, which was based here in Birmingham, Alabama. So we that's pretty much was our mentor at that point. And, you know, he that's what he did. His show was strictly about the callers, and it was strictly about fans of college football, particularly SEC football. But we here on Smacking Off, we love to talk about all the conferences. We love them all, except for Oklahoma, of course. Speaking of which, Mr. Timothy, let's talk about the upcoming. I mean, you know, it's just that it seems like the hype on this game is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Is it my imagination, or does it seem like more people are talking online and in social media about the Oklahoma Georgia game versus the Clemson Alabama game?
Yes, absolutely.
You don't really hear much about the Clemson Alabama game at all.
Without a doubt. And I think the reason why is, as much as people are like, the three-peat's great,
fatigue. Maybe
Three peats is the same thing you just saw. So this is different. Neither of these teams have ever played each other ever.
Yeah, I believe that you were reminded
huge
about that on
storyline.
the last segment.
Yeah, this is huge because both of the teams, Georgia or Oklahoma, they get to walk away with not only just a chance to play for the national championship, but bragging rights.
I think it'll set up a good home and home a few years down the road.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. Oklahoma,
I would
Georgia,
love
home
it.
and home would be sweet.
There's some home and homes I'm wanting.
Oklahoma's going to want some redemption after this one, for sure.
You think so?
They're going to be looking for home and home.
That's what we're talking about.
I don't see how in the world you stop that running game. There's nothing.
Well, here's the thing.
None of the players
You're not
going to
stop.
The defensive line or the linebackers. I just don't see it happening.
Well, here's the
They're
thing
probably going to watch that Auburn
film
film
about Oklahoma and conference play. When they play in the Big 12, they base a nickel formation. They base nickel, so they don't play. They don't have a lot of. They have their best linebacker besides Obo Okoronkwo is number 19 Caleb Kelly, who Auburn knows as the guy who got in their ass over and over again. He doesn't actually get to play that often on the field in Big 12 play because he's kind of a liability in the passing game. You'll see this will be a better Oklahoma defense against the run than what you've seen all season long, because we're not going to come out with 5 defensive backs. I mean, it'll probably be the traditional Stoops 4-3 under that you would be accustomed to seeing from the old era of, whenever, everyone in the Big 12 still used I formation and all that stuff. You'll probably see a traditional 4-3 under. And I don't think that you're going to stop the running game. Oklahoma's not going to stop the running game. They're going to run 45 to 50 times with those really good running backs. But I do think they'll hold them between 180 and 220, and that's all they really have to. They don't have to stop them and hold them to 50 like Auburn did. They just have to hold them to not just go completely off the wall. That's all they have to do.
Yeah, they can't allow them to break big runs. I mean, they're going to have to keep them. They're going to have to keep them under wraps and keep them contained. I just didn't, just going kind of through the roster a little bit. I just, from a size standpoint and speed, and you did explain it a little bit, going outside of the Big 12 and playing against a stronger running attack that they will move in that direction. But if they haven't been playing that all year, do you think it's going to be a lot of fluidity to it?
Well, there is, and here's why. Here's the reason why there will be good fluidity to it. It's the best defense Mike Stoops knows how to coach. And a couple years ago when we played Tennessee, we got into that kind of game with Tennessee. If you remember the one where he came back and had to win in overtime. I'm not comparing that Tennessee team to Georgia. I do think Georgia's better than that team. But Alvin Kamara and Jalen Hurd are very good running backs, and Oklahoma held Tennessee to only 254 yards of offense using the 4-3 defense that they don't accustomedly use. They normally play 3-4, or they play the 3-3-5 nickel formations that you see in the Big 12, because obviously you can't just line up in a 4-3 in the Big 12. It just won't work.
Yeah, but
that Tennessee team could only run.
Yeah, you're bringing up Tennessee though. Why?
That team wasn't as strong.
The reason why I'm bringing it up is I was just showing an example of the fact that Oklahoma has played. It's not their traditional set, but they've played it in out of conference play successfully against other opponents.
I mean, your out of conference is like, God, what? Take away Ohio State, and it's like, I don't know, 10.
Tulane's a good running team. They're not a very good team, but they're a triple option attack. It's kind of different. It's not really the same.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Oklahoma's played good running backs this year. They've played Justice Hill. He's very good, but it's a little different once again because he takes advantage of the fact that, he's running through the 3-man fronts against nickel. Ohio State's probably the most comparable, but they're really not because schematically they're different.
Yeah, they don't run anywhere.
To be honest, I'm actually more. I'd be more worried about having to play Ohio State again, their rushing attack, than Georgia's. Not because I think Ohio State has better players, but because of the scheme.
I'm sorry, I've got to interject here.
I'm a lot less worried about 22 personnel than I would be about a spread attack.
But I mean, I don't think that you're fully
just
grasping.
Just a ground and pound. I mean, it's going to be coming right. This game, it's going to be close. And you can go back and look at Georgia's season all year. The games are close in the first, second, and kind of midway through the third, and then that defense just gets tired of tackling. They don't even
and that is the concern for Oklahoma. But here's the difference.
There's no depth.
Here's
That's
the
a
difference.
huge
Oklahoma
concern
doesn't
for
have very
Oklahoma.
good depth on defense. But here's the problem for Georgia: is they're not going to be the game's probably not going to be close from the first, second, and third quarter, because Oklahoma only has to stop the run for a half, and they'll be up by 14, 21 points.
Yeah, but you're mistaken. What you're doing is you're looking at the passing game that Georgia has, and you're thinking that they cannot throw the ball.
I don't think that they can. They have
to.
Well,
So if
it's
we
a little
have
bit
to
less.
pick up third down.
You don't
we have
go.
some of the best tight ends in the nation. We don't even throw to them. Don't even throw to them.
I do believe. I think Jake Fromm's a fantastic. I think Jake Fromm's very good, and I like your tight ends. I don't like your players on the outside. I think Wims is okay, but I mean, he's maybe a dime a dozen.
he
in the
made the
Big
catch
12.
of the year.
He made a great catch, but like making a great
He's
catch.
made more than one.
I understand that, but there's a lot of
you can't
players
have a
that
big
make great
drop in
catches that
Auburn.
aren't even in Division I football now. So I mean, making a great catch is fantastic, and that's a lot of fun.
Well,
But I mean, the type of receivers Oklahoma's faced all year, I mean, I could probably go off and name several teams that have better receivers. I'm not as worried about Jake Fromm and the Georgia offense. If they could throw the ball more effectively, they would throw it more. There's no reason why they wouldn't. 110th means that you're probably, you got some reservations about throwing it. Yes, I understand you got a great rushing attack, but you would throw more if you were more effective at it. You wouldn't be that porous at it if you weren't effective at it.
No, you just don't.
Oklahoma's a great passing team. They have balance. Oklahoma's a fantastic passing team. If they wanted to be Texas Tech, they could, but why? They still run the football. They average 215 yards a game themselves. So if you could do it better, you would do it. You would throw the ball more. You definitely would.
I don't know that you need to. I don't know that we whenever we've been in a situation where we absolutely had to, of course, minus the Auburn game, the first one, which was a total farce anyway. They were flat in that game from the jump.
What?
Need that game. They didn't.
Actually, I rewatched
Tennessee. If you want to get down.
No, good God, there's no comparison.
Are you still there? Timothy? You went to
Timothy?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Jody? Everybody here?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, seriously, it was like me. You ever see Tron when Jeff Bridges goes and becomes Tron and all of that? Yeah, that's kind of what it sounded like. It sounded like you were becoming Tron for a minute.
And my Tennessee example wasn't the fact that I was saying that Tennessee was on Georgia's level. It was an example that Oklahoma can effectively run that defense out of conference play.
I wasn't giving you hell just for the example. I was giving you hell because you brought Tennessee into the conversation, because Tennessee is an absolute bad, horrible, nasty word on the show. Go ahead.
Okay, that's why you're giving me a hard
fuck
time.
Phil Fulmer and his fat ass.
Here's the thing that I watched from the film that I watched that concerns me about Georgia's defense and their ability to actually stop the Oklahoma offense. I looked at the way they cover inside receivers, and I've watched on film. I don't think that they have any answer for Mark Andrews. I mean, I've looked at tons and tons of tape. The inside receiver, just no answer for him.
They don't.
And then the defensive line.
You're exactly right there. I mean, Aaron Davis is a fifth-year senior. I mean, he was highly recruited in high school, but he had a knee, he had an ACL, and then the next year he was still a 3-star, and he tore his other one. So he was a walk-on at Georgia, and he's a fifth-year senior this year. I mean, I don't think that he's the answer. I mean, Malcolm Parrish, he'll be back there. He's a respectable corner, but he is sharing time. So you're right in the fact that the Georgia corners aren't. They're not fantastic. They're not shutdown guys. But
the defensive line concerns me too in the matchup, because when I watch them on film, they're not very disruptive. They're very solid. They're well coached, and they get the stop. But when you watch them play, their defensive numbers come from they get guys after 1 or 2 yards. That's where they get their defense from.
The linebacker play, and you do have Lorenzo Carter and Devin Bellamy coming off the edges, and then you have Trenton Thompson and Dallas Baker and some other ones coming up from the inside. They haven't been a pin your ears back, go get the quarterback defense. That's not what they're doing. You don't see over pursuit either, which is going to be a problem for Oklahoma, because you don't see is the ends.
Their linebackers
in the middle
are pretty
passing
aggressive.
the quarterback, and the quarterback stepping up in the pocket and just ripping one downfield. You don't see that.
Well, the linebackers are really over-aggressive. I noticed that from the Missouri and the 2 Auburn game tapes. The RPOs and misdirection really, really did a number on several different plays, or there was opportunities there that weren't taken advantage of by Stidham, especially in that second game. Goodness gracious, Stidham had some chances in the second game against Georgia, and he just couldn't take advantage. And I'm not sure really why. But, that misdirection – the misdirection and the RPOs, I mean, they were, those were the only 2 teams that really did that much against you. Missouri ran the RPO. They didn't really run the ball effectively, but it did attract the linebackers to come up, and they do kind of over-pursue. The defensive line stays home. That's why I think they don't get as many sacks and disruptive plays.
Right.
The defensive ends do stay home. But the thing is, this is also interesting because I think that those 2 defensive ends, besides Roquan Smith, are probably your best 2 players, and in terms of stopping the run and things like that.
No, that's true.
And Bobby
Patrick
Evans
is right there behind.
Those tackles for Oklahoma are really good too. And so you'll have Orlando Brown and Bobby Evans against, Lorenzo Carter and Bellamy, and I think that'll be an interesting matchup in the game itself. The other thing is a lot of people have taken for granted the fact that they just think Georgia will just completely shut down the Oklahoma rushing attack. And I just don't see that being the case. Now, I'm not saying Oklahoma's going to run for 215 because I doubt that. But they're going to be able to run the ball effectively to be good enough to stay balanced. I mean, they've done it. They did it against Ohio State, TCU, Texas, some defenses that are better at stopping the run than Georgia is. And so, you're going to see Oklahoma be able to still run the football. I don't see Georgia doing much to stop the Oklahoma offense because they're not as. The thing is, being sound's not what's going to stop this offense. What's going to stop this offense is getting turnovers. It's going to be getting hits in the backfield. It's going to be, harassing Baker Mayfield. And I just don't know that Georgia has the team that does those things well enough.
Well, now I will say this, and I got to interject just for a moment because Georgia is number 2 in the nation as far as fewest passing yards allowed. They're right now allowing 158 or so yards per game. Again, I don't think I don't think enough has been discussed about that. A lot of people have been talking about the fact that Georgia is going to stop the run, and there's no way that Oklahoma is going to run on them because Oklahoma doesn't have that much top tier caliber talent at running back this year.
Rodney Anderson is
not taking anything away from Rodney.
Well,
Anderson.
he's a 1,000-yard rusher, but
and you also have to look at the defenses that he's ran against this year.
He's just soft. I mean, I don't see him. I just don't see the rushing attack being there. I mean,
but nobody has brought up the fact that Georgia is number 2 in the nation as far as passing yards allowed.
And here's why I think because Georgia, when you look at their schedule and you break it down. They played one number 14 passing. They played one passing attack in the top 52 in the nation, and that's Missouri. And then the number 68 passing attack, 7 touchdowns.
Mississippi State's got a more than average passing game too.
No, they don't. They're in the hundreds. They're terrible at passing offense.
Well, they tell LSU that. I mean,
LSU also lost to Troy, who is a pretty good out of conference, pretty good group of 5 team, but Mississippi State's 108th in the country in passing. They average 100.
LSU should never, ever lose to Troy, ever.
Baylor put up 41 on Oklahoma.
That's true.
Baylor has 1 win, and it's against a team who's won 11.
That's true. And you also have to keep in mind, though.
Texas is 6-6 and you barely beat them. I mean, there was a stretch.
But would Texas Tech be 6-6 in the SEC East? I mean, Texas would probably be the second best team in the SEC East. I mean, look at the teams.
It depends on who they're playing.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking about 6 and 6. I mean, that's about where just about the whole entire East is this year, except for the top 2 teams.
Oklahoma has played 6 teams this year with a winning record. They played 6 teams with a winning record. That's it. And that was TCU twice. They played 6 teams with a winning record.
That's true, but they've also played against 9 bowl-eligible teams, and they'll be the only team to play against 10 once.
No. That's a thin excuse, especially with some of the teams that are getting into bowls this year. Come on, man.
Not in the Big 12 when you play a round robin. They have
the Tax Slayer
in the
Bowl.
Big 12 and a round robin. Can you do you know how hard it is for a round
North
robin?
Texas is going to a fucking bowl this year. North Texas. I'll just leave it at that.
That's impossible. I mean, really, you should only be getting 5 or 6 teams in the bowl with how a round robin should work.
when you play UTEP. I mean,
well, sure, but that's not Oklahoma's fault that UTEP is worse than normal. They schedule a regular group of 5 teams.
Or that Iowa State was better than normal.
Yeah, it's not exactly. Iowa State's pretty good this year. They're a pretty good team. They lost a couple games down. They probably would have won 9 or 10 games this year if they didn't lose their quarterback down the stretch. But
Smacking Off invites you to join us on the podcast. If you have an opinion on an upcoming game, some commentary on your conference, or want to roll with one of your fellow smackers on air, hit us up. You can message us at the Smacking Off or X's and O's Facebook pages. Email me at maddenshannon@toothfairy.com. Or call us on the Smack line, 304-508-BAIT. And as always, fuck your team.
the Oklahoma, you're kind of underestimating. I mean, Oklahoma's played a better schedule than Georgia. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
They played
Ohio State.
Winning
Name a team that you played that's as good as Ohio State.
Take out Ohio State, okay?
Take out Ohio State.
We played Auburn twice. Auburn would wipe the floor with Ohio State.
TCU's better than Auburn, in my opinion.
Oh, please. Oh, you got to be kidding me. With TCU, they're overrated.
Oh, so now they're overrated because you don't like them.
Well, because they don't play anybody either.
Oklahoma State's in this league as well. They did whatever they wanted in out-of-conference play. I mean, they put up gajillion points. They played against Pitt, who's not a very good team.
Let's see here. TCU played SMU.
Played better against Virginia Tech.
They played Oklahoma State, West Virginia. They played Kansas State. They played Kansas, Iowa State, Texas.
TCU played West Virginia whenever Will Grier was healthy, which that team was a much better team with Will Grier. Oklahoma didn't play West Virginia whenever they had Grier, unfortunately. But TCU's a solid team. TCU has 3 losses because they had to play Oklahoma twice. I mean, Auburn has 3 losses because they threw a game away at LSU and wasn't healthy in the end of the season.
Real quick, the TCU's playing Stanford in their bowl. Who's going to win that one?
I expect TCU to win that game. Although Bryce Love's very good, and I expect him to, even though TCU's rushing defense is very good, I expect him to still have a good game, just because he's a very good player, and that's what very good players do. Is they push through some tough adversity. I think TCU will win. They're a better team, I think, overall. They're more talented roster, top to bottom, than Stanford, so they should win the game.
I don't know, man. I don't think I see the talent that Baker Mayfield has. I just don't see the supporting cast around it.
Well, you don't see a guy? What? You don't see the supporting cast? Rodney Anderson had the most rushing yards of any player down the last 6 weeks. The guy literally just wasn't playing early because he just came back-to-back season-ending injuries. I mean, the dude's a freak athlete, a monster. He's going to be in the NFL. He's probably going to be a first or second round pick in next year's draft. Then you have Trey Sermon, who's a very good running back that Georgia made a mistake on not pursuing harder. He's fantastic.
We didn't need him. I mean,
you didn't need him. I mean, so is Oklahoma. Oklahoma's they're 4 deep. They've got 3 that really play, but they got 4 deep that they can throw out there. If Kennedy Brooks wasn't hurt, they'd have 5 too. Oklahoma is no slouch in the running attack either. They won't. They're not. Then you have. They do use it. They average 215 a game. They average 215 rushing yards a game.
How many does Baker Mayfield?
Not very many. Baker has. Let's see. How many rushing yards does Baker Mayfield have on the year? He has 310.
Yeah, but he doesn't need to run. I mean,
he doesn't really run
with the passing numbers he's put up this year. He doesn't have to. He could have -3 and it still wouldn't make a fuck.
Yeah. Marquise Brown's a really good receiver as well. He runs a sub 4.3. He's smaller. I'm a little concerned in this game because of the big physical DBs that are in the SEC. That he might not have a great He might have a great matchup over the top, but he could get hurt easier because he's really small. But he has 49 catches for 981 yards. Mark Andrew, 58 catches, 906. Well, Baker only throws, I believe he throws like what? Let's see.
35.
I don't think he throws that many.
Guys, we've already gotten both of you guys' predictions on the game and other segments, but go ahead and both of you guys run down, starting with Timothy, the keys to victory. I know we've probably done this already too, but maybe it's changed as you've.
Yeah, but the more you think about it, the more you observe it.
Yeah. The keys for Oklahoma in this game is for 1 to keep balanced, and for 2 to contain the running game of Georgia, especially early in the game. And I believe that they will end up winning the game pretty handily in the end by a score of 38-14.
All right, Jody.
I think the keys for the game for Georgia is to, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Don't snap the ball with more than 5 seconds on the play clock. Keep Oklahoma off the field. Wear down that defense. Keep the backs rotating through. Let everybody have an equal amount of touches. I expect to see a 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust, a bunch of 12-play drives, keeping Oklahoma off the field. Baker Mayfield's going to have his shots. You just got to limit him. He's going to be dangerous, but you just got to, you can't let him score in 3-4 plays. You're going to have to make him work for it and earn it, take more time off the clock. I think Georgia wears this team down. I think, in late in the third, I don't think they can stop the run. We'll be able to pop off on play action if we need to. I just see 42-17.
Woo, man! Yeah,
kind of like what we did in
either way, y'all are talking about ass whipping. So yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I don't think it's going to be a close game. I really, I think Georgia's
X's and O's wise
going to handle that defensive line, open up some big holes. The linebackers are, they're not going to want to tackle Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, not late in the game.
X's and O's wise, this is pretty clearly, when you break down the X's and O's of the game, it's pretty clearly in favor of Oklahoma. Simply this 3 yards in a cloud of dust and trying to control the clock, that doesn't work. That's why people stopped using it. I mean, it doesn't work. What that ends up equaling is that you're going to punt. This is how I honestly think the game script's going to go. I think Oklahoma will score, though Georgia will end up having to punt, and then Oklahoma will score again. And then we'll have to see what Jake Fromm's made of. And I don't think he's going to outduel Baker Mayfield.
All right.
Yeah, I don't understand why you think that you're going to be able to just score on this defense at will like you did against Kansas and like you did against UTEP. It's not going to. He's not going to have
This Georgia defense is not nearly as good. Georgia's not going to get in the back. I mean, Georgia's not very. They're not even very good at getting in the backfield. And you're going to tell me they're going to get back there and not give him much time? Oklahoma's played.
They are
six opponents.
They're number 2 in the nation this year. So
ask Georgia Tech if they get in the backfield. Ask Georgia Tech if they get in the backfield. Ask Missouri.
Georgia Tech's a different kind of team.
Ask Mississippi State if they get in the backfield.
Look, fellas.
The caliber of Oklahoma's.
I have a feeling we could probably have this conversation for another hour and a half, but we've definitely got a boogie, and we really appreciate having both of you on the show tonight.
I'm ready. All right, if you say so, man. We'll see on
2 sacks a game. That's 66 in the nation.
I'll tell you what, fellas. We will continue this conversation.
If you go sack the quarterback, then you're not going to get sacked.
I want to continue this conversation right before the game. Are both of y'all willing to come back right before the game?
Yeah,
we'll even do a live. You want to do a live segment?
Right before, right after. I mean,
okay.
Sure, either one's fine.
Okay, well, we'll have our people call your people, and thank you so much for appearing on Smacking.
Visit our Facebook pages, Smacking Off the Podcast fan page and Smacking Off the Podcast group page, facebook.com/group/smackoff, facebook.com/smackologists.
We are.
We are live, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Smacking Off podcast. We are joined with 2 of probably the most epic smackers ever.
Famous.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh yes, this is like the most superstar studded episode I think we've had yet. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to welcome. This is very, very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, live from Lou Tube is Uncle Lou himself. Uncle Lou, how you doing tonight?
Hey, good morning. How's everyone doing?
It's beautiful. He's wearing a Team Asshole hat. Very nice. Very, very stylish. And ladies and gentlemen, as always, a dear friend of the show, our good friend, Mr. Pike. How you doing?
Can y'all see me?
I can see you. Sort of.
I don't know how to get on speakerphone.
Yeah, you're
I don't know. This looks kind of weird. Maybe y'all really are the same person. Somebody told me that earlier.
Maybe we are.
Yeah, because the lighting's
I'm in my
weird.
bedroom.
See his hand. You can see his hand going over to this box right here. See it?
Yeah. There's some.
Why are you hiding in the dark?
You don't feel good.
And if you got to put it on speakerphone, but I can't figure it out. So well.
But this is our president. That's
I'm
our
sick.
president.
Lou, I'm sick.
Witherden Pike is not feeling good.
They are the same person. This is really happened.
And we are not the same person.
You're muted, Uncle Lou.
He's got secrets. He's working on secrets right now. He's working on some things you don't need to hear.
Yeah.
We gotta make this quick. My dogs are playing Georgia Tech.
This is true.
Go Dogs.
Lou, what do you got to say about that?
Pike is a lifelong Georgia fan. I don't know.
No, that's not true.
I don't know why.
I've been a Georgia fan for about 2 months, but if it wasn't for me,
I thought it was about
Georgia would not win the SEC championship.
Yeah.
I guarantee fucking that.
Yeah, because you did so well for Ole Miss and Tennessee, right, Pike?
Beat Bama 2 out of 3 times of the year. 2 out of 3 years.
And what did that get them? It got them the same thing it got Auburn this year. Nothing.
It got what I got for Georgia.
The live champion.
Yeah, do you have a T-shirt like the Auburn fans do? We beat Georgia and Alabama in a meaningless regular season game. Whee!
I still can't get over Auburn fans destroying that field and still are playing UCF in a crap bowl this year. Well, I mean, it's a 6 bowl, but still.
Yeah.
That's
sad.
I mean, that is the story of a your typical story of an Auburn fan,
At least they didn't burn down their own tree this year.
Well, this is true. That was still funny as shit. And again, did they find that person that burnt that set fire to the trees that Harvey Updike eventually came and finished the job on? Did they find $500,000?
Auburn fans claim it was an LSU fan that did it, but I just think it was an idiot Barner.
Of course it was.
Had to be.
Toilet paper on fire.
I mean, and I love this conversation because all of us can agree that Auburn sucks balls.
Hell yeah, he sucked.
Well, wasn't Auburn in your final? Wasn't they one of your final teams, Pike, when you were trying to pick a new team?
It was, but I was just trolling because I knew Georgia was going to win. I was trying to get all the Auburn fans upset.
Or get them actually excited that you might be rooting for their team and pull their season out of the toilet.
With the Auburn fans, they were upset, but the Georgia fans, they supported me.
Welcome to the dark side, Pike.
I'm happy to be here.
We're happy.
Dogs.
This is beautiful. I really love this. I was a little nervous. I thought Uncle Lou was going to be a little rough on you.
No,
I
sent him a private message. I said, if he attacks me, I'm not going on.
I spend a lot of time defending Pike around these places here. Pike gets on a lot of people's nerves, rubs people the wrong way and stuff like that. And I tell people all the time. In fact, I was telling somebody about an hour ago in one of them groups, and I'm really only half kidding when I say this. There's some truth to this, but Pike is a genius. Seriously.
Absolutely.
It's not easy to do what Pike does. And, people can say they hate him and this guy's an idiot and I wish Pike wasn't here and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is they spend half their day commenting on whatever he posts on there.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But started saying that, my tablet started doing this weird thing. It's like it's been possessed by the devil or something. And Pike, I think you may have gotten me sick.
Oh, man, I wouldn't wish what I got on anybody.
Are you still running a fever? You got that knocked down?
I got knocked down to about 100.
The fuck, man? Why is this thing doing this? This is creeping me out.
I got to work at the damn furniture store tomorrow, too. I don't know what I'm going to do.
You're going to go to work like that?
I got to. They knocked my damn pay. It's Christmas time. I can't afford it.
Oh, come on now.
I know.
I think that they should at least. You don't have
any of that role that you had fanned out 2 weeks ago in the on the one meme.
Man, you got Christmas going on. You know what I'm saying,
right?
Yeah.
You blow it out for Christmas, don't you?
Oh gosh, everybody had a good Christmas. Yeah.
Everybody around you.
Do you have a special lady in your life right now? Are you still single? You single?
I'm still single.
Still single. So at least you don't have.
I've been single for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Pike, tell us the best Christmas present you've bought for somebody this year.
Well, I bought my golf buddy. I got him a Bud Light cooler, and it's Bluetooth. So when we go play golf together, we can listen to music and drink beers and play golf all at the same time.
Now, did you put any beer in the cooler, or is it just a cooler?
It's just a cooler.
Yeah, you drank up
but
all
I'll
the
buy
beer.
some beer for it.
You drink the beer.
Yeah, I hear you.
You bought beer for it.
Uncle Will, you don't drink, do you?
Well, I used to drink way too much, so that's why I don't drink at all anymore.
Oh God, I'd love to get drunk with you, Uncle Will.
Same here, Lou. I actually haven't had a drink in almost I'm going on 3 years now.
Been a while.
Yep. Congratulations,
Hey.
about 15 months for me.
Yeah, I
How
really
long?
it was getting kind of epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens like that. Well,
I ain't drinking 3
it's all
days.
about being grown, you know.
Yeah.
How y'all feeling about this Rose Bowl?
Oh,
I feel pretty good about it. I feel pretty good about it. I think it's a pretty good matchup for Georgia. I mean, I don't think there's any team that's going to stop Baker Mayfield. I mean, I think that's just ridiculous. And of course, you have some Georgia fans, you know, that, Oklahoma's got no chance. They won't be able to move the ball on Georgia, blah, blah, blah. I mean, Oklahoma's going to move the ball. They're going to get their points and stuff like that. But I just think it's a good matchup for Georgia. They're not any good against the run, Oklahoma. They're 40th against the run in a league that doesn't run the ball. So, I mean, that's not good. You would think in the Big 12, their stats against the run would look better really than they are, since no one runs the ball out there. But to be 40th in the Big 12, I think that's bad news against Georgia. Georgia should be able to line up and just run the ball, which is really the best case scenario for Georgia, no matter who we're playing. Jake Fromm, he's got some talent and some ability, but he's a freshman. He's not going to win a game for us. But if we can run the ball, that helps him out. That opens up some play action and, 2 or 3 deep chances down the field or something like that. But I think Georgia, I mean, our offense will be our best defense in this game. And we have a great defense. But like I said, you're not stopping Baker Mayfield. He's going to get his points. But if we can keep him on the sideline, Baker Mayfield can't beat you if he's not on the field.
You handled him.
That's true.
Georgia should the ball, run time off the clock, forget the hurry up offense. We should be snapping the ball with 4 or 5 seconds left on the play clock all day long. And I think if we can force Oklahoma into a punt a couple of times in the first half and a couple of times in the second half, I think Georgia wins the game, something like 34-30.
Yeah, and that
Time management's the key.
Seeing that too, not necessarily a super high scoring affair, but something around in the 30s. And I think that's probably, I don't know, a safe bet somewhere in the high 20s, low 30s. If Georgia can contain Oklahoma to that point, they should be able to outpace them. But the thing that and we brought this up in a segment a moment ago, the thing that everybody keeps overlooking, though, is that Georgia's number 2 in the nation as far as passing defense goes. Smacking Off invites you to join us on the podcast. If you have an opinion on an upcoming game, some commentary on your conference, or want to roll with one of your fellow smackers on air, hit us up. You can message us at the Smacking Off or X's and O's Facebook pages, email me at maddenshannon@toothfairy.com, or call us on the Smack line, 304-508-BAIT. And as always, fuck your team. And that's not, I know Baker Mayfield is definitely an elite top tier quarterback. And I'm not saying that they're going to contain him to the normal under 200 yards that they normally keep teams. But, that you've got to factor that in at some point. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Well, as much as I love Georgia, we ain't seen a Baker Mayfield yet.
True. Very true.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Lock is a good quarterback from Missouri, but even if you want to try to pretend that Drew Lock is anywhere near as good as Baker Mayfield, which he's not, but even if you want to try to pretend that he doesn't have the pieces around him like Baker Mayfield does. And Missouri was by far the best passing team we faced, and they had some success against Georgia in the first half. Now, Georgia made some adjustments at halftime and completely shut them down in the second half. Like I said, I don't expect that to happen against Oklahoma, but this will be the best defense Baker Mayfield has seen this year. I mean, by far. About it. TCU has a legitimate defense, but they're not top 10, top 5. They just don't compare to a UTA.
Yeah, I believe they come in at around 19 in total NCAA stats right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah,
I know it's cliche to say that Oklahoma hasn't seen a front 7 like Georgia, but it's really going to disrupt them and it's going to take them out of rhythm. They're not.
Yeah, I think so too. And a lot has been made about Georgia's pass rush this year or lack thereof. We're last or close to last in the SEC in number of sacks this season. But if you really pay attention and you listen to what Kirby Smart says, and he pretty much comes out and says it a lot of times in press conferences, we don't really game plan for sacks. And I know that sounds a little bit silly. Now, obviously, if a quarterback drops back to pass the ball, the goal is for your lineman to try to sack him. But we don't really dial up specific blitzes or plays that often that are designed to sack a quarterback. It's more of a control and contain type of scheme on defense. And it's worked so far for UJ. Now, with that being said, we can't let Baker Mayfield just sit in the pocket. He'll pick anybody apart. So they're going to have to come up with some creative ways to make him uncomfortable, even if it doesn't result in a sack, moving him out of the pocket, getting pressure on him, knocking him down, things like that. You got to make him uncomfortable.
Yep.
Very true.
And I think that there's really not a lot of teams in the country that would be better suited for that than Georgia.
Oklahoma's going to get chubbed.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma – there's no way. I have zero doubt at all that Oklahoma is going to be able to stop Georgia's ground game. It's just not going to happen. There's just nothing Oklahoma can do to stop Georgia from running the ball. And that's why if this game is close in the fourth quarter, Georgia will win going away. Georgia's going to have 5 running backs in the fourth quarter, and none of them are going to have over 10 carries for the game. I mean, we rotate running backs every single play. Starting in the first quarter. I mean, you'll see Chubb on first down, Michelle on second down, Swift on third down.
We're get to the over here, so we know how that goes.
Chubb and Michelle are sitting at 8-9 carries heading into the fourth quarter. So if the game is even close, then those running backs will take the game over in the fourth quarter, and Georgia will win going away.
I agree. Matter of fact, I can't think of a lot of scenarios where Oklahoma gets the win unless Baker Mayfield is uncontainable and they can't.
If Baker lights it up and we make some mistakes, whether it's turnovers or we have had some issues this season with stupid penalties in bad situations. I can't tell you how many times Georgia has committed a stupid penalty on third down or even on fourth down on punting situations. Georgia running into the kicker, offsides, too many men on the field.
That first SEC championship game.
Exactly, on third or fourth downs. And when you're playing a team like Oklahoma and a quarterback like Baker Mayfield, if you make a play on third down and force a punt and then you commit a penalty, that's giving them an extra possession. And you just can't do that against an elite team like Oklahoma. So, they got to cut that stuff out, force Oklahoma to punt a couple of times in each half. And like I said, I think Georgia can win a 34-30, 33-28, somewhere in that range type of ball game.
Very true. How are those dogs doing, Justin?
I don't know. I'm focusing on this podcast right now. I'm going to start watching it.
I like the dedication.
They probably winning.
He is your president.
That is uncanny.
Damn
it is.
Right.
No wonder people think y'all are the same person.
Yeah.
Have you done that on film before?
I did it once a couple of summers ago. It was hilarious.
Pissed me off.
It was. Why?
I was even in a hotel room. I was even in a hotel room like Pike was on one of his whatever he was. I don't know. Rent-A-Center had sent him to some whatever town, I guess. He films all his videos. I was in a hotel room. I think it was a root beer, a fake beer or something. And this is your president. I'm so DeWong, President Pike. How you want doing?
Man, that's really good.
So if we want Pike, we can get Pike, or we can get Uncle Lou to come on and do Pike.
Yeah, I could do a voiceover as Pike.
We could probably
I'm pretty good at voices too.
Can you do Uncle Lou, Pike?
Good morning. That's way good.
Good job.
Okay, so what's this deal? Are y'all running for president of SEC SMAC? Did I see something?
Well, I think Lou always tried that. It didn't work out too good.
Oh no, it worked out great. I won, but I'm only president in the off season. I'm an actual sports fan, so during the season, I don't know that kind of stuff. But during the off season, I reassume my role as president.
During the
I am ready for some off season.
Right now, it's David LaRue in the in season because he is a Vol fan and Vols aren't going to be doing much this Christmas.
The Vol fans are in permanent off season mode.
Absolutely.
They've been in the off season since 2008.
You think Pruitt's got the stones to pull him back to greatness?
It's an unknown. I mean, I'm
Vols are
giving
fucked.
Tennessee fans, I've been giving them a hard time for hiring Pruitt. But, I mean, when you hire somebody who's never been a head coach, you're taking a risk. But you're taking a risk no matter who you hire. I mean, he could end up being a great coach or he could fall on his face. I mean, I'm leaning towards probably not going to be a good hire. I heard too many stories from his times at UGA and all the other stops that he's made. He's burned a lot of bridges. He makes a lot of enemies. He doesn't like to be told what to do. He's not good with authority. So I know Philip Fulmer's in love with him right now. We'll see what happens after Tennessee starts 1-5 this year, or 2-5, which is what's happening. If you've looked at Tennessee's schedule, it's the first half of the season is absolutely brutal for Tennessee. So we'll see how Jeremy Pruitt handles being head coach of a 2-5 team, and that'll tell you a lot about what you need to know about Jeremy Pruitt's time at Tennessee.
And 2-5, that's enough to make fan base. I mean, just absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they start off with West Virginia. Okay, that's most likely a loss. I mean, let's just be real. West Virginia is going to throw for 500 yards in that game with Will Grier, who is still the best quarterback Florida has had in the last 10 years. Yep. They're probably going to see right. Then Tennessee's second 2 games are against high school teams, so they'll win those 2 games. So they'll be 2-1. But then their next 4 games are Georgia, Florida, Auburn, Alabama, and then South Carolina. I mean, it's very possible Tennessee loses all 5 of those games. I mean, they're not beating Georgia, Auburn, or Alabama. I can tell you that right off the bat. They do get Florida at home. That's a toss-up. And then Tennessee has never beaten Will Muschamp. So you got to give South Carolina the edge in that one right now. They return Jake Bentley next year. He's probably going to be a top 2 or 3 quarterback in the SEC next year. I could easily see Tennessee losing all 5 of those first 5 SEC games, maybe starting 2-5, 2-6, at the best, maybe 3-5. It's going to be a rough start for Tennessee. And what Tennessee fans see, here's the thing. They're depleted with talent and the schedule is brutal. I mean, if Pruitt starts out rough 3-5 or something like that, they can't just jump on the guy. I mean, you hired him, you got to give this guy a chance. I know they're tired of losing, but if they jump on this guy first half of the season, I mean, this Pruitt thing could be over before it ever even starts.
If that happens, they're going to have a hell of a time finding another coach at that point.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Off-season win, and then something like that goes down.
Right.
Yep. Maybe Fulmer can just appoint himself coach.
That might be what his plan is, and that's why he hired Jeremy Pruitt.
Return of the Great Pumpkin.
I can't wait. That fat motherfucker. I hate his guts. I hate everything in my being. I really do.
Yep.
I'm sorry, and it's not just a Bama thing. It's just really even if I was pulling for another fan base to hear about the shit that he pulled, I'm sorry, man. He's a bitch.
Yeah.
So you're going.
Y'all hear about that Alabama linebacker going down practice today?
I did.
I mean, I don't consider myself a troll, really. I consider myself a
I don't know about bro, not me, bro. I don't know about Justin.
Speak goddamn women and fuck with them, man. I'll beat your goddamn brains out.
Yeah, but it was still a horrible look for Oklahoma.
Dude, whatever you're smoking, buy a ton of it.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
God damn it!
Man, they can't catch a break at linebacker.
We had a linebacker go down today for
Who's gonna play linebacker for him?
Yeah.
Sorry, Dylan Moses.
Oh shit.
Freshman, but he was making a contribution, and I mean, we've got some guys back, but now we've got that. Now we've got that right.
Is Fitzpatrick going to be 100% for that game?
He better be.
Oh, he's y'all's best player, man. That dude is a stud.
Oh, he's really
unreal.
Going to be great in the NFL.
Yeah, they're drooling over him.
Well,
all right, so let's go ahead and predict. How long is Pike going to be a Georgia fan?
All the way to the national championship, baby.
Always, yep.
Are you gonna reevaluate your fandom?
I'm a very successful person. Georgia's gonna win the national championship, and I'm all my smack podcasts, legacy. This is gonna be the motherfucking cherry on top.
Pike, if Georgia wins the national title, Pike, I'm gonna send you an autographed Uncle Lou hat.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about right there.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I've already seen a few.
Down there later.
They come up on eBay from time to time, and I can't afford that shit.
Really?
Yeah.
If Georgia goes to the national championship game, how much are the tickets going to be? Have y'all heard anything about that?
Oh, it'll be the most expensive national. It'll be the most expensive national title game ticket in history because it's in Georgia. I mean, they'll be $4,000 or $5,000 a piece.
Especially if it's Alabama.
Alabama and Georgia would be epic.
That would be a great place to go stand outside the stadium and panhandle.
The Rose Bowl is dirt cheap, man. The Rose Bowl tickets are cheaper than like a Georgia versus Tennessee ticket. You can get in the Rose Bowl for $180.
Wow.
I don't know why.
That's on StubHub. That's secondhand. StubHub's got them all day long, 180, 200. Now you got to fly out there, of course, if you want to go to the game.
That's got to mean that both fan bases aren't traveling that well.
Yeah, there's been some articles about Georgia fans buying up a lot of tickets, but I don't know. That's a long way for anybody to travel, so I'll believe it when we see it. So we'll see.
Yeah, and not just the travel, but the hotel while you're there and rent a car and parking and all. Yeah,
thousands of dollars.
These Okie fans,
yeah.
These Okie fans, they know how this shit goes. They're gonna, get all the way out there, and then Georgia's gonna whoop their ass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would be gun shy to spend a lot of money if I was an Okie fan.
I don't know. Yeah. And a plane ticket out of Oklahoma would probably be a lot more expensive because Atlanta's got the.
What's the last game that Oklahoma won that meant something? I know you're going to hear about the Sugar Bowl win against Auburn.
The Sugar Bowl win against Alabama, I would think, would probably be the most significant.
But it didn't mean anything. But that game meant nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the consolation bowl.
The almost bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
well, they won a national title, 10 years ago? 12 years ago?
2000.
17 years ago.
They did play for a natty in 2008, and then Florida handed their ass to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're probably a little gun shy about heading out to Pasadena.
Yeah.
Especially with the running game that Georgia has.
I can't wait.
I'm excited. I can't wait either. I'm so excited. I mean, people give Georgia fans a hard time all the time in these groups, hashtag 1980, blah, blah, blah. And, and that's true. And, in all reality, this is an amazing season for Georgia. I get it. Alabama fans, it's like, first round of the playoffs, but you guys are there. Alabama's there all the time. Ohio State, they're there a lot. I mean, when a team like Georgia gets in, even Clemson a couple of years ago, I mean, it'd been 25, 30 years since Clemson had done anything till a couple of years ago. When a team first gets in like that, I mean, Georgia fans are excited. And I told somebody the other day, Georgia could go out and lose 100-0 in the Rose Bowl. This is a successful season for Georgia. Georgia's not judged by Alabama standards or Ohio State standards. I mean, I know the smack talk group lingo and if you don't win it, then the season is irrelevant and blah blah blah. This is already a successful season for Georgia. Anything else we get at this point is just cake.
Yeah, but
now, of course, I want to win. I want to win bad. But it's been a long time since we've had this opportunity, and I hope Georgia shows up ready to play. I hope it's a good game. I hope Georgia wins, but I couldn't be happier with the way Georgia has played this year.
Well,
go Dogs!
You got Kirby there, so maybe 3 or 4 years from now, if we have this conversation, it'll be totally different.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. At that point, you may expect it every year.
Yeah, and he's pulling in some monster recruit. I mean, tomorrow's going to be a huge day for Georgia. Georgia is probably getting 6 5-stars in 2018. I mean, that's just that blows my mind. I mean, we used to get about 6 every 10 years, under Mark Richt, and now we're looking at getting 6 5-stars in the 2018 class. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Did you just say fuck Mark Richt?
I just never liked him.
Why not?
He's just so mediocre.
No, yeah, I mean,
I know he does have people talking about Miami again.
Mark Richt may end up winning a national title at Miami, and if he does, that still doesn't mean Georgia made the wrong decision. Sometimes people need change, and that goes for the University of Georgia and Mark Richt. Mark Richt had grown stale at UGA. It
doesn't mean that Mark Richt was a bad coach. It doesn't.
He wasn't a bad coach, but he just had grown stale, and it was just time, I think, for both parties to start fresh.
If I'm putting money down, though, I'm saying that Mark Richt will retire from Miami without a national championship.
Oh yeah, it's going to be hard. Yeah,
he'll nut in the damn net.
The Pittsburgh game had to be a good reminder to you guys of why you got rid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I watched several Miami games this year. I mean, Georgia Tech had them beat. Miracle fourth quarter catch by Miami to beat Georgia Tech. They were losing to North Carolina in the fourth quarter, which is what, a 2-win team. I mean, they got lucky during the season, and it caught up with them against Pittsburgh, and then of course they got blown out by Clemson. Florida State, I mean, had an awful year this year. They lucked out and won that game. You know, I don't see Miami beating Florida State on a consistent basis. I don't see them beating Clemson on a consistent basis. You know, Virginia Tech, they probably split those games. So I don't know. He may end up winning the ACC and making the playoff at some point, but I wouldn't pick him to win a national title right now.
Yeah,
Nope.
and I think
I agree.
a few
Clemson
more,
slowing down.
some top 10 recruiting classes, maybe. Rick is a good recruiter.
Yeah.
Man, nobody can deny Kirby Smart's success over the past couple of years at Georgia in recruiting. It's just been phenomenal, really.
And he was sitting on pretty decent players already because of Rick, but he's in a much higher level of recruiting than Rick.
And that's how you win natties.
Yeah, that's right.
And definitely Smart learned how to win natties from the best.
Yeah.
So.
As coming from two Bama fans, you're welcome.
Jan, you don't sound like you're from Bama.
Yeah, I've been here since I was 5 years old. I wasn't born in Alabama. I was actually born in South Carolina.
I was born here, but I lived in
What
Miami.
part?
Right outside of Myrtle Beach, a little tiny podunk town called Conway. I went there recently.
I know where that's at. I'm from Boone, North Carolina originally.
That's some shady shit going on in Conway. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's Bear in Florence.
Lots and lots and lots of heroin out there. Yuck. Nasty. Nasty stuff.
That's where Coastal Carolina is, ain't it?
I do believe.
Yeah, they won the baseball title, wasn't it, last year?
I don't know. I'd forgive me. I don't normally keep up with.
I think they did. I think it was either last year or the year before. Coastal Carolina.
I remember by baseball last year is that Tiggy coming on and running his mouth about Oregon State, and they came over and played LSU, and LSU handed their ass to him.
Yeah.
No, Tiggy.
And then we didn't hear from Tiggy for a week.
Yeah, Tiggy's MIA right now. We actually were supposed to have him on a segment.
He's actually scheduled. He's actually scheduled for next week.
He fell asleep or something.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, whatever. Tiggy's having a rough go of things right now.
Well,
reality's setting in.
His relevancy is went down the tube with Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't blame a guy for trying to hype his team and hype his conference, especially to us, podunk dicks here in the SEC
I mean, I feel the
country.
same way about Tiggy as I do Pike. I don't understand why people can't just take the entertainment element of it and leave their feels.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I think the most brilliant photograph I've ever seen on social media ever was Justin Pike in that sheet. You know which one I'm talking about, Justin?
Which one?
The sheet.
Oh, yeah. That was sick.
That's still my favorite one. I'm sorry. I almost made that my cover photo for my Facebook.
I like the From Our Family to Your picture.
Yeah.
Did you see they had Justin? They had Justin in a dress.
Yeah, I saw that.
The
little stick people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah, who's the other
on that side?
Can you name everybody on that picture?
I don't know how to pull it back up again. Isn't LaRue in that one or something?
Maybe. There's a girl in there too.
Justin wanted to talk.
Do y'all ever have David Woo on here?
David Woo! David Woo!
Actually,
I've seen it.
David was scheduled to come on the show. The problem is he got in the accident and was in the hospital and all that other stuff. So he was actually scheduled to come on like a week after the accident happened. We had scheduled him a couple weeks prior. And he was going to do the show live. He apparently teaches a class and was going to do the show while he was doing the class, and his classroom was going to be in the background. It was actually, I was looking forward to it. And then he got in the wreck. And
hey, you should get David Marshall on here one day.
We're definitely getting Dorita Landry.
You should
Dorita.
have him on Christmas Day.
That would be nice. Can you line that up? We're not important enough to mingle with such royalty. Like David.
I can pull some strings.
You can pull some strings for me, can't you?
I can pull some strings. Yes.
So right now, I guess really the last thing that we can really talk about on this one is go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Yep.
That'll be the only time.
Prediction was
Because I don't know about y'all, but looking past this game, which is very difficult for either Alabama or Georgia to look past their prospective playoff games. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really hoping for an SEC national championship game.
Oh, me too. I catch so much. I'm an SEC homer big time. I catch so much help. I mean, I don't care. As much as I hate like South Carolina or whatever, I always want them to beat Clemson. I always want Florida to beat Florida State. I would love to play Alabama in the national title game. The rest of the country would be so mad. I would love.
They'd be butthurt. I'll go viral if it's the all SEC national championship game.
Yeah, but you and I both know that's probably going to be just a massively rated game, even outside the South.
Yeah.
Because programs right now playing at a completely, different level than the rest of the country.
Yep.
Yeah.
Auburn fans may disagree right now. Auburn fans are going to be screaming and throwing things when they.
Oh, they're so mad. They are so mad. Look, Georgia, going into this year, Georgia had beat Auburn 9 out of the last 11 years, right? And so, of course, we always remind them of that. And they always say the same thing. Oh, those are meaningless regular season games, but Auburn won a national title in 2010 and won the SEC in 2013. You can have those regular season wins. Now listen to them now, though. Oh, we beat Georgia and Alabama in the regular season. Whee!
I think David, I've seen, Lou, that you put something up about, did you proclaim them the champions of November?
Yeah, they're the November champions. They got a trophy, Auburn November champions. We fucking tried hard.
Yep, I seen that. That was funny as shit.
Actually, Lou, we do a.
They're kind of sensitive about it right now.
Yes, they are.
In honor of Butch Jones, we do a life championship every.
I saw that. Yeah, y'all had the year-end one the other day. You counted down to top 5 or whatever.
Auburn was our winner, and I think everybody really agree. We actually had a poll up on our couple little pages we have on Facebook, and that was the winner.
Yeah, that was a great choice. They deserved it. They deserved it.
They fought hard for it. They really did. Down the stretch.
I mean, you can't find a better.
Right.
I mean, we're not talking about a team that, just come up short or whatever. People thought Auburn was the best team in the country for a week or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, I know they got 2 losses, but who could beat Auburn right now? Well, Georgia could.
Yeah.
Auburn's definitely a different team out of Jordan-Hare than they are.
Yeah, there's something going on at that stadium, man. I don't know if they're pumping drugs in the system or something there. I mean, seriously, like GHB in the
water. Is weird, man.
They had like a years ago. One of the professors or somebody that worked in the lab there actually got busted for making a huge.
I actually seen that. You shared that.
GHB, the date rape drug.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking there's probably a little bit of GHB in the water for the opposing.
I've never seen a team look so much different at home than they look on the road.
Absolutely, man.
But anyway.
Yeah.
We could talk
about Auburn all night, but we're not going to.
The live champions.
Yeah. Fuck them.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, I got to run. I'm going to catch some of this Georgia Tech game, but I really appreciate y'all having me on. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for coming on. And Lou, we are huge fans of LouTube. Everybody, anytime that it's on, go check out LouTube. Go subscribe to the channel. And both of you, Justin Pike, thank you so much, both of you, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
All right, get better,
guys. I'll talk to y'all later.
Nice. Smacking Off invites you to join us on the podcast. If you have an opinion on an upcoming game, some commentary on your conference, or want to roll with one of your fellow smackers on air, hit us up. You can message us at the Smacking Off or X's and O's Facebook pages, email me at maddenshannon@toothfairy.com, or call us on the Smack line, 304-508-BAIT. And as always, fuck your team. Back to Smacking Off, the podcast. We're here joined with one of our dear friends of the show, Mr. Sean Devine. How are you doing this evening, Mr. Sean?
I'm doing great, as always. It's good to be on with Shannon and Doug and the Smacking Off podcast.
Well,
Another
and
fun
our
week,
whole
gentlemen.
entire crew that we have, behind the scenes here.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just
Bring
two
me
of
some
us. Yeah. Bring me a
You
bagel.
you have a robust staff.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just some unpaid interns that we have chained in the basement. I mean, nothing. We're going to talk about these bowl games coming up, continuing our bowl game conversation. We have, there is a huge, massive glut of bowls this year. But we got to keep football. We got to keep keep our eyes glued to the TV, keep that advertising money going. But in the middle of all this, there's a few interesting matchups. And let's go ahead and start with the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. What the hell?
Where's that at? Where's that at, Shannon?
Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. First off, what is Bad Boys Mowers Gasparilla? What is a Gasparilla?
I know what a sarsaparilla is. That's
What
a
is
root
it?
beer.
Well,
I'm Googling
I
this
think
shit.
I think the Gasparilla is the name of the bowl, and the sponsor is Bad Boy Mowers.
Yeah, but what is a Gasparilla?
It beats the hell out of me.
I think it's a root beer float. It's just like a root beer float, except it's made with gasoline and ice cream.
Hang on, I'm looking this shit up right now. Gasparilla is... It's apparently some sort of festival that they have. Like, it's something to do with pirates or something. This is gay as fuck.
Yeah.
Temple versus Florida International. It's 8 p.m. December 21st on ESPN. Let's talk about it. Temple versus Florida International. Exactly. That's really that's kind of
Butch Davis.
I think that's the correct answer.
Butch Davis is Florida International's coach.
Yeah. The other Butch.
I'd like Florida International in this game. Temple hasn't been the same since they lost that senior class from 2 years ago where they started off, I think, unbeaten until I think Notre Dame beat them out there in Philadelphia.
I remember that.
I mean, they're okay. But they play in the American Athletic. I think Florida International has too much talent for them. I haven't looked at the spread just yet. I'll pull that up here in a minute, but I still like Florida International. I like Butch Davis. He can still coach.
Yep.
And I'll take Florida International in this game.
All right, December 22nd, the Bahamas Bowl. Boy, I'm very jealous of my UAB Blazers. Oh my God, they get to go to a bowl their very first year back. I'm so proud of the Blazers. Of course, full disclosure, we're broadcasting, roughly about 10 miles away.
10 miles
from UAB's campus. So they've had a really rough go of things, courtesy, I hate to say it, from the University of Alabama trustee system. And they have come back from the dead to their very first 9-win season. I told a lot of folks in the offseason I was really excited about UAB's chances. Everybody laughed. They were projected, I believe, as a 3 or 4 win team.
Yep.
By Vegas coming into the season.
And now they're sitting in the Bahamas.
The very first year that they've ever won nine games. Now, to be fair, their schedule, I think there's 130 teams in Division I, and they probably, I think their strength of schedule was probably 132nd. I mean, it was a pretty easy schedule, but then again, you're talking about a team that was coming back from the dead that nobody knew what they were going to do as far as recruiting and all sorts of stuff, and were they even going to be able to recruit?
What do we know about the Ohio Bobcats?
Ohio, not to be confused with Ohio State. Just Ohio. How do you feel about that game?
I think UAB is going to be very excited. They're in the bowl game. Will be excited because they're in the Bahamas. But to play, I don't know about that.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think UAB is going to get this one.
I really do. And again, I can't say enough good things about their coach, Bill Clark. Bill Clark, if he continues to have this kind of success at UAB, as their schedule starts getting a little tougher and, they actually start, clamping down a little bit, I don't know. We could actually see him stepping up into the upper echelons of coaching. And there's been a few people have thrown his hat in the ring for Coach of the Year this year. Of course, there's a lot of stiff competition in that this year with Mark Richt's success at Miami, Kirby Smart with what he's done at Georgia. I mean, the list goes on.
Brian Kelly also at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 losses, but, I mean, look what he did last year.
Yeah,
so.
he was on the hot seat going into the season. I mean, to pull them all the way up to number 3 in the country, I mean, it's just incredible.
Yep.
From what I've heard, he's definitely not going anywhere this year, even if they lose the bowl game to LSU. He's definitely getting another year just because of that turnaround, and also the changes semi-forced upon him. I mean, it didn't come out publicly, but he was certainly encouraged to shake up the staff, and not only on field and in the press box, but also behind the scenes. So he followed that order, so he's getting another year.
All right, moving right along to the famous Idaho Potato Bowl at Lyle Field in Albertson Stadium in Boise, Ohio. Central Michigan versus Wyoming.
Is that the Bluefield?
I think it is.
Sean, do you know?
Is that?
I believe that is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's the blue field.
Yes.
All right, so I'll have to wear my sunglasses
Yes,
to
you
wear
will.
that.
Or wear those, wear the 3D glasses. Remember the 3D glasses that were blue and red?
You think that's bad? Eastern Washington. You ever seen Eastern Washington play on TV?
No.
They got a red field.
Oh, that's
Burnt
weird.
red field there.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
they'll
God.
burn your eyes.
Yes, sir. It's terrible.
Oh, that's horrible. Central Michigan versus the Wyoming Cowboys. Wyoming's actually had, for a stretch there, that seemed like the Wyoming was going to have a pretty decent season, and they had some difficult losses down the stretch.
Who's their quarterback? He's tell us, Sean.
Well, I'm struggling on his name, but
Allen?
Yeah, Josh Allen is his name.
Yes, what I almost said that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, he come into the season.
Don't want to speak.
I think they had him as a Heisman possibility.
They're even talking about him being a pretty decent NFL draft pick, too,
Yeah.
at the end of the season.
Yes, and so the question is he going to play? If I wasn't mistaken, he had either a hand or a thumb or some, maybe a shoulder, something wasn't quite right. So I'm not sure. I've looked to see if he's actually gonna play in this game. But if he plays, I would definitely take Wyoming. You got a 7-5 Wyoming team against an 8-4 Central Michigan. The Wyoming's definitely excited to be there. It's virtually a home game for them up the road in Idaho.
Yep.
Central Michigan doesn't want to be there. And if Allen plays, and I watched him play, I think there was a game, it was snowing like hell. One of those Mountain West games. And he looked good to me. He looked pretty accurate.
I always like watching those Mountain West games. They're fun.
Especially when it's snowing. It's just something about watching a football game when it's snowing. Yeah.
Yep. And it looks like a high school crowd in some of those games, and it's just interesting.
Well, Wyoming's one of our least populated states, so, I mean, it's tough for them to get full house. And, as I look at it here, Wyoming played, Iowa at Iowa, and
I remember.
Everybody makes fun of that poor punter for missing that kick, but they only lost 24-3 to a Power 5, and then they lost 49-13 to Oregon. But other than that, they've been pretty doggone good. Their only conference losses were Boise State, who we just saw beat Oregon, and Fresno State.
Fresno State only had 3 losses, I think, and 2 of them were one. They had Fresno State had a loss to Bama, a loss to Washington, and then I think they got that loss to UNLV.
Right. So I like Wyoming in this game. I think they win somewhere 6 or 7 points.
Yeah. December 23rd, we have here right down the street from where we're broadcasting the Birmingham Bowl. Texas Tech versus South Florida. Legion Field,
Ooh.
the old Iron Bowl.
Man, that's an interesting game.
That really is an interesting game.
That is an this is an interesting matchup. This one's tough.
We should go to this one.
I like South Florida.
I kind of do as well, just from the effort. If they play with the effort and intensity they put up against Central Florida, which is the last time we saw them, I think they could definitely, beat Texas Tech.
What do they got? 2 losses? If I'm not mistaken,
South Florida.
I think they lost. They got upset sometime in the season. They may have lost at Houston, and they definitely lost to Central Florida at the end of the year. That was a great game.
That was a really good game.
It was.
It was, and the kid that quarterback. I'm expecting a good game out of that one. Let's go to that one.
What day is that?
It's coming up this Saturday.
This Saturday?
Yeah. Is it this Saturday? Yeah, it'll be this Saturday.
Yeah, you got a 9-2 South Florida against a 6-6 Texas Tech, who's very lucky to be in a bowl game. This bowl game because of the conference tie-in.
Yeah, when he threw Texas Tech out, I was thinking, did they have a winning year? Because I don't remember.
They had a
they're in the
500
Birmingham
year
Bowl,
with
baby.
a below 500 conference record. They were 3-6 in the mighty Big 12 conference.
Yeah, I have to go with Florida. I got to go with South Florida.
Yeah, suddenly this game isn't as interesting as we initially thought.
No, but Texas Tech it invokes thoughts of high powered offense, but they're not. They haven't been there in a little while.
Yeah. Moving right along.
No, they're struggling mightily.
Yep.
The Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, San Diego State versus Army. 3:30.
I'm letting Sean go on this one first.
Little personal tidbit on this game. My folks will be going to this game.
Really?
Parents live in Fort Worth, right down the street from TCU, so they'll be there. And rooting heavily for Army, as most of our family has served in the Army. Now, are we predicting an Army win? No. We expect San Diego State to win the game, probably by 14, 17, something like that. On paper, they are the more talented team.
It's funny. As soon as you said that, you kind of broke up there a little bit. I think that's somebody from the NSA kind of just, buzzing it up a little bit. Go Army.
Go Army.
You don't talk bad about our troops on our show, boy.
Well, I'm certainly rooting for Army to win the game. Myself serving in the Army, but I just look at San Diego State on paper has got way more team speed, even a bigger offensive line. So
great running back. Is the running back still intact?
Pumphrey, Donnell Pumphrey, I believe, is there, right? So Army's going to have to really control the ball, hold on to the ball, and just bleed clock and score on every possession. But I just don't see it happening. I see San Diego State winning this game probably 28-14, something like that.
Moving right along, I think the lineup for this bowl is very accurate for who's sponsoring it. The Dollar General Bowl, Appalachian State versus Toledo in spacious and beautiful Mobile, Alabama. You ever been to Mobile?
Is that Lad Peoples?
Yeah, you want to talk about a shit town.
I've been to Mobile.
There's nothing going on in Mobile. Nothing.
Yeah, there is the Dollar General Bowl.
Yeah, the Dollar General Bowl.
At beautiful Lad Peebles, or Pebbles, however you pronounce it.
Either way, it don't matter. None of this matters.
Oh, we got a Christmas Eve game this year. Oh, in sunny Hawaii.
Yeah, to remind us all that we should be, better in life.
Man,
so
when
we
I
can
was a
move to
kid,
Hawaii.
there was bowl games on Christmas Day regularly.
Yeah,
that don't happen anymore.
No, it's all about the spirit of giving as much as you possibly can. Like iPhone X.
Well, you got 2 NFL games on Christmas Day.
Yeah, you got those. It's always Dallas and somebody. Is it Dallas and
America's team?
Yeah, and
no, that's Thanksgiving.
No.
Oh, okay. What happens on Christmas?
The Christmas is just whoever they decide to
I'm watching It's a Wonderful Life. I don't know about y'all. It's
a
Wonderful Life and Christmas Story. It's always on.
What time is that on? No, yeah, I'll be watching 24 Hours of a Christmas Story.
Are you just gonna have that running in the
I don't know
all the time?
I don't know if TNT still does it, but when I was a kid, they used to do 24 Hours of the Duke on Christmas, so it was like every John Wayne movie.
No, actually, TNT, I think, they're running the Christmas Story thing now.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, it used to be the John Wayne Christmas, or it was every John Wayne movie, or it was 24 Hours of Eastwood. So,
That don't sound very Christmassy.
On Christmas.
Yeah, if you get Mob Dro, you can watch 24/7 Trailer Park Boys. I highly recommend it.
I haven't watched that show in a while.
That show is amazing. It's one of the greatest shows that ever happened, ever.
Yeah.
I still think they're doing stuff, too.
It happened in real time.
Leahy died, though.
Huh?
Leahy died.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, he passed away recently. That's sad.
Why?
It's a bummer.
He died.
People died. Drink too much?
No, he was actually he was sober in real life.
Oh, really?
True story. Yeah, he had a problem with it a long time ago.
No, he was a better actor than Otis.
Oh yeah.
Jeez, because I was convinced that he was really getting drunk for those.
He used
episodes.
to get that drunk. That's how he knew how to act like that.
Wow.
I can do that.
But Randy,
I used to get that drunk.
Randy's still alive though, right?
Randy Bobandy?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's it's cheeseburgers. Everybody can say what they want to about cheeseburgers.
You're familiar with the show, Sean?
Oh, absolutely.
It's freaking Trailer Park Boys. Of course he is. Our guests are informed here on Smacking Off, the podcast. All right.
You got to add the podcast.
Yeah, we didn't even give a score for the Appalachian State Toledo.
We got to pick a winner in this game.
Yeah.
No, we really don't. It don't matter. Let's go on.
There's no winners in this game.
Yeah, there's no winners in this game.
I'm taking Appalachian State.
All right, good.
Beautiful Boone, North Carolina.
Are they the Mountaineers? What's their name?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see Toledo's fans traveling well for a game in Mobile, Alabama. I don't see it.
Let me just go ahead and throw this out. I've actually been to the campus of Appalachian State. It's a weird place. It's way up in the hills, and it's like, I don't know, it's like a little vacation spot or something. Got all these shops up in there. We went up in there in 2010.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
No, it's actually a cool place.
Well, I'll tell you, it's certainly better than Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. In fact, the fans of Toledo, if they do travel to Mobile, might feel right at home.
Maybe, but Appalachian people are going to be like, "What the hell is this shit?"
Yeah, I mean it's Mobile, dude. There's literally nothing going on. I think the most happening spot in Mobile is the Zaxby's.
Is there Zaxby's down there?
There might be.
There should be.
There should be.
Right.
There should be like 4 of them. Exactly. All right, December 24th, Christmas Eve, we have the Hawaii Bowl, Fresno State versus Houston.
I just want to go.
I like Fresno State. I don't know how you gentlemen feel, but
the first thing I'm going to say is
Alabama beat them.
Yeah, Herman's not at Houston anymore. Let's just go ahead.
I don't know why
that charade now.
I don't know why they haven't renamed this the Jim Neighbors Bowl.
They should.
The Jim Neighbors Memorial Bowl.
Jim Neighbors was probably the very best representative that to the other 48 states, the continental 48 states. As far as a man, making it and going out there and living the good life. I think Roseanne's got a place out there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's nuts. I love
She's
her.
got her show. Her show's coming back, I guess.
Oh, really?
You're not talking about
Roseanne?
Roseanne?
Like the Roseanne show?
Yeah.
You are confirming this.
You know, I from what I'm hearing, ABC is going to relaunch that.
We got us a soundbite right here.
Snap. That's awesome.
What happened when that show ended though? I thought like Dan died.
Yeah, Dan died. He was a dead man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
that
think
lottery
John
shit
Goodman's
didn't
coming
happen.
back, but
No Goodman? Oh
Yeah,
shit!
There's no sense in watching that. That's not even funny.
No Goodman.
Seriously, the very, very best. And I got to go off topic just for a second. Well, on topic about Roseanne. Very best guest that they had on there, and they had some excellent actors. Tim Curry, Sandra Bernhardt was a regular there, but my absolute favorite was Dan's dad, John Goodman's dad, Ned Beatty.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some excellent casting.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought every single episode that he was on. He was only on a few of the episodes, and he was just amazing.
Tom Arnold was pretty good, too.
Tom Arnold was great. I love Tom Arnold.
I do like Tom Arnold.
I'm a huge Tom Arnold apologist. I'll just go ahead and throw that out right now. I'm serious, man. You need to go watch it sometimes because it is equal parts one of the most fascinating movies you'll ever see, and it's also one of the worst. The Stupids. You need to watch that. You need to sit through that movie at least one time in your life.
My daughter likes it. She really does.
I don't know why I remember James Woods in that movie. It's kind of like everybody remembers Shaq in the movie about the genie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't him. Was
No,
it him?
not Shaq. Sinbad.
Oh, but he wasn't in it. It was Shaq.
Shaq was in Kazam.
Right.
I remember Kazam.
Yeah.
That was a piece of shit. Remember, they had a video game about that shit. Remember it?
What was the?
I think Super Nintendo.
Who's the fellow that was in the Green Mile? The big.
Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, when he died, you remember the guy that played
no
in?
longer walking this earthly realm.
You remember Idiocracy? The guy that played the president.
Yeah.
Camacho.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it was him, so he was getting like condolences.
They don't look anything alike.
Nothing. They're just both big.
That was Terry Crews.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're both big. They're both black.
Yeah.
But there's nothing similar
Not
about
the
them.
same guy.
No.
And we're just completely not talking about these bowls anymore. This is awesome. This has been the best segment tonight ever, and this has been a night filled with great segments. I might add. Smacking Off invites you to join us on the podcast. If you have an opinion on an upcoming game, some commentary on your conference, or want to roll with one of your fellow smackers on air, hit us up. You can message us at the Smacking Off or X's and O's Facebook pages, email me at maddenshannon@toothfairy.com, or call us on the Smack Line, 304-508-BAIT. And as always, fuck your team. December 26th, the day after Christmas. Speaking of Zaxby's, the Zaxby's Heart of Dallas Bowl. Who comes up with these fucking names?
Oh, Zaxby's come up with it.
I want to call a quick time. I've never been to what is it?
I ate there today, and I got heartburn. I shit you not. I ate there for lunch today.
You're breaking up a little bit, Sean. Try it again.
Can you hear me?
He's driving through a tunnel.
Got me?
Yeah, we got you.
No, I'm not sure. It's just this building sucks for service. Yeah, no, I've never eaten it as actual. What do they serve?
It's like chicken fingers and wings, but it's like, I don't know.
And they instead of salads, they have Zalids.
Yeah.
This should have been the Zaxby's Salad Bowl.
That would have been awesome.
It would have been awesome.
The Zaxby's Grilled Chicken Salad Bowl.
Who's in this?
With ranch.
Did we already talk about that?
Utah and West Virginia.
Utah, the Utes.
The Utes. Versus them old mountain
Utes, Mr. Gambino. Utes.
That's a classic.
We will all be glued to our TVs at 1:30 on ESPN. This is going to be at the Cotton Bowl. However, this is definitely not the Cotton Bowl.
So tell me this. Is Greer playing, or is he still out?
I believe he's still out.
If Greer's not playing, then I don't know. I don't know what to say. If Greer's playing, I think West Virginia probably pulls the game out. But if not,
no. The question here is West Virginia's coach, Mr. Holgerson, is he coaching for his job here with this game? Is he on the hot seat?
And I guess I bring that up in juxtaposition compared to West Virginia. It really depends on expectations as far as hot seat goes. I mean, And they were good enough to get to a shitty Zaxby's Bowl. So, you know.
But is that really the expectations of the West Virginia fan base? I mean, because, you know, just a few years ago, you're talking about West Virginia putting a beat down on Georgia and the Sugar Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, that's not
What's their win total this year?
West Virginia, I think they're 8-4, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, moving right along. The Quick Lane Bowl.
Quick Lane Bowl. Nothing beats going to Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah, Ford Field. Duke versus Northern Illinois, whose stock has dropped quite dramatically, I might add.
Northern Illinois. Jeez, God. Is that going to be on TV?
You know where Northern Illinois is in.
Are any of these games going to be on TV? I mean, you know, shit. Appalachian State versus Toledo. That's a 7 p.m. game, man. That's prime time.
These are better games than we looked at last week, though.
Yeah, I mean, slightly.
They're not that much better.
Some of them. But I mean, I'm picturing Duke. I mean, in Detroit. I don't know. Their fans aren't going to travel there. I mean, if you're a Duke fan, are you going to
No.
Detroit? If you're any fan, are you going to Detroit to watch your team play?
Northern Illinois fans will be in Detroit.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, the people that live outside of Detroit's like Cambodia for some folks. I mean, you know.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
Sean, have you been to Detroit before?
Yeah, I've been to Detroit a couple times.
I heard it looks like a war
I'm
zone.
from Chicago, so I've been over to Detroit.
I've heard
really
it.
Not that bad.
How far is it from Chicago?
It's about a 4-hour drive.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Depending on this time of year weather, it could be 5 hours.
Right. But you're saying it's not that bad?
No, not right down there where Ford Field is. Ford Field is right next to Comerica Park, where the Tigers play in the downtown district. You got the casino. What else you got there? Town. And then they just built the new arena for the Pistons and Red Wings. So they're having a little revitalization there. Now, there are parts of Detroit that you don't want to get near. So,
well, it's like that here. We live in Birmingham, Alabama, and we're usually ranked a few slots below Detroit when it comes to world's or nation's deadliest city.
You mean, but Detroit being higher?
Northern Illinois,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Northern Illinois is part of the MAC and the MAC championship games in Detroit at Ford Field. So the Northern fans are very familiar with the trek over to Detroit, and I think their fans will travel fairly well for this game. Now, Northern Illinois is in DeKalb, Illinois, which is about 40 miles west of Chicago.
Yeah, so that's practically a home
What
game
time
for
does that
them.
game kick off?
5:15 p.m.
Okay.
So, early evening.
I might have to tune into that.
Okay.
Just to see if they show some shots of downtown Detroit.
Just to see if you've been wrong this whole time.
That's it.
Yeah.
Could be a freaking paradise.
Start some travel arrangements.
Right.
To Detroit.
Right.
I've been to their
It's a
airport
small-
before. Their airport, it literally is like something out of
Good size.
It's something like it's like something out of a Kubrick film. Okay, going on to the Cactus Bowl. This is an appropriately named bowl.
Yeah.
It's in Phoenix at Chase Field. Kansas State versus UCLA.
Oh, this is the best game we've talked about so far.
Yeah.
I think.
I agree, but first, if I wanted to get something off my chest here, if I may.
Do it.
And I personally don't like these bowl games are in baseball stadiums. I don't know. There's something about it. I'm not jiving with it. Maybe I'm way out in left field.
So you're not a Pinstripe Bowl fan?
No. The Pinstripe Bowl, whatever the hell that bowl is out in San Francisco, played at the Giants baseball field. Or this one played at a baseball stadium. I don't know. I don't really see the need for that, but what the hell.
But, well, either way, it's still the best game we've talked about so far, matchup-wise.
That's true.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's not the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl, that's for sure.
Yeah. Or the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl.
True that.
All right. UCLA. I guess Rosen will be playing. And who's the other team?
Kansas State.
Kansas State. K-State.
Coming all the way from Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah, that's
a terrible. Speaking of bad cities, Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah.
You been there?
The Little Apple.
All right, December 27th, we're featured the.
Hold up.
What?
Do we even pick on that game?
I don't know. Who cares?
No, we have not picked. I think we got to go UCLA here.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm going with Rosen too.
Yeah, I don't see
Kansas State's not going to want to be there.
No,
but Bill Snyder might get him fired up for it, though.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely he'll surprise you. Yeah, he actually won a big game. At
and
the
again,
end of
have
the year.
you ever been to Manhattan, Kansas this time of year?
No.
Oh, I'm sure them boys are going to love it down in Phoenix.
They might.
Yeah, actually get to thaw out for a few days.
But Rosen, he's trying to get a higher draft spot.
Yeah, true that.
And I think there's just too much. There's just too many athletes. I think on UCLA, if they actually play the way that they should play.
Tell me
they
this:
should win this game by 10.
Is Chip Kelly coaching them?
Jesus Christ, that hurt. I'm still gonna have it.
I'm the greatest
No, whoa. Okay, all right, fellas, time out. Come on, give me a second here. Fellas, pause. Just give me a second, man. Pause, give me a second. Let me pause. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it's all about here at SmackDown.
I don't know.
I don't either.
We need
I
to
haven't
get
heard.
some info on that. That's all things being even. UCLA should probably win.
All right, December 27th, the walk-on Independence Bowl. Southern Miss versus Florida State. This is going to be a Fisherless Florida State.
I mean, if you're Florida State, do you have any motivation to win this game?
I don't
do you
know.
have any motivation to be in Shreveport,
to make
Louisiana,
sure that you don't get
opposed to
beaten by
Tallahassee?
Southern Miss. I mean, you would figure that should be in and of itself motivation.
Should be.
Yeah, should be.
Should be.
But could Southern Miss win even if Florida State don't show up? I mean, how good is Southern Miss? What's their record?
And how bad is Florida State right now? I mean, is Florida State really as bad as their record is?
Southern Miss has been bad for a few years. I guess they got enough wins to get into a bowl. Obviously,
did they? Which Mississippi team? Wasn't that the Mississippi team that lost to UAB?
I don't know.
I'm looking this shit up. We have just so many questions. Yeah,
No, other than-
UAB
they're
beat them
8-4.
30-12.
I mean, not as good as UAB and not as good as North Texas in their division of the Conference USA. So
I think Florida State probably don't want to be here, like you say, and they still win the game by 10.
I mean, they should. There's just so much more talent on Florida State than Southern Miss.
Oh, it's night and day. Yeah.
I got to take Florida State in this, even if they don't want to be there. I mean, just the talent alone is just. I mean, Florida State's littered with 4- and 5-star kids. Southern Miss just isn't.
Right.
I mean, so I'll take Florida State by 7. We'll say 7. They'll fiddle fart around all game and let Southern Miss hang around, but they'll win it.
I don't know. I think Florida State comes out and handles business in this one. I think it might be a little bit more decisive win than that. Because strictly based on what you just said a moment ago. I mean, there's just so much talent there, regardless, even if they're just kind of limping into the game. I just don't see them just completely laying down to fucking Southern Miss.
Right.
You actually kind of spoiled this one a moment ago. The New Era Pinstripe Bowl, which is being played at Yankee Stadium, America's ballpark.
Baseball stadium.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Iowa versus Boston College.
I think if the Iowa that beat, go ahead.
To me, this seems like an easy one. If Iowa plays to their potential, they'll blow Boston College out of the water.
At their potential, they can beat Ohio State by by 31 points.
And Boston College is, to me, they beat they got a good win. In the
They
ACC
beat
game. Or is it Florida State?
They beat the dog shit out of Florida State.
I feel like Iowa is going to win this game.
Yeah,
Kirk Ferentz usually gets his teams ready to play in bowl games. I think a few years ago they hung around with LSU in the Outback Bowl, and on paper he looked and said, "Wow, LSU's going to kill these guys as far as talent is concerned." But Kirk Ferentz does a good job of getting the Hawkeyes ready to play in bowl games, and the Hawkeye alumni love to get the hell out of the cornfield for the holidays. New York is a great place to go. So I'm taking Iowa in this game. Close one. Say they win by 6.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Coming up, here we go back to another shitty bowl name. The Foster Farms Bowl. Probably more than likely, I would almost bet, sponsored by Foster Farms. It's at the Levi's Stadium. I mean, there's just so much sponsorship going on here in Santa Clara, California. Arizona versus Purdue. It's going to be on Fox.
Arizona looked good for a minute this year.
Yeah, they did.
And Purdue has looked good at times.
At times. And they've also looked extremely mediocre at other times.
I have to be honest. I have not watched either one of these teams play.
I watched Arizona with that Pac-12 after dark. I get, I got nothing going on a Saturday night, and I like to check those games out. And Purdue is just way too hit or miss for me. I mean, some games they look great, and other games they look like wretched dog shit. And I think, it's a little easier trip for the Arizona fan base and alumni to get up to California than it is for people from Purdue, even though it is a little warmer weather. People from Purdue aren't traveling out to Santa Clara, California to watch this game.
Nope.
No, that's a long haul for a shit bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah. And finally, since I went ahead and spoke their name into existence, the Academy Sports and Outdoors Texas Bowl. Texas versus Missouri. The Energy Stadium.
Missouri.
In Houston.
Missouri.
Energy Stadium.
Yes.
In Houston.
Missouri looks pretty damn good now. I mean, they didn't look good early, but this team really started looking good.
This will be Herman's first game.
I was going to say, I mean, if Texas defense plays like it did against Oklahoma in the Red River game and out in Southern California against USC, I think Texas's defense could carry the day. But then again, you get games where they don't show up and get their ass handed to them. Texas is 6-6. Let's see, Missouri. Who got here from Missouri?
I know Missouri did a lot.
7-5.
7-5. Yeah.
4-4 in the SEC.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was like Shannon said that. I think this is Herman's first bowl game there at Texas. It's in Texas and Houston, so Longhorn faithful are gonna.
Tonight, if it wasn't for this podcast, I would have never known what a Gasparilla was.
Well, now you do.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, Sean.
All right. You guys have a nice evening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Take care.
Please subscribe to our channel by clicking the small smacking off icon at the top of the screen now. Click the link at the bottom of the screen to watch last week's episode.